Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here. Guys, I'm in the middle of training to become a professional boxer. It's something I do on the side of making YouTube videos and filming, making movies. I also like to box, but I'm not very good at it. Anyway guys, I just got out of the movies and I am going to be giving you a review for the newest boxing, sports, film, drama from director Antoine Fuqua and starring Jake Gyllenhaal. And of course the film I'm going to be talking about in this video, guys, is Southpaw. That's right guys, Southpaw has finally hit theaters, and in case any of you were wondering, Mike, where's the Pixels review? Mike, you gotta steer me away from that movie. Guys, I literally refuse to give Adam Sandler anything more than Bargain Tuesday prices of $8. Okay, I just can't do it. So yes, this opened the same day as Pixels, and I refuse to go see that movie until Bargain Tuesday. So I decided to see Southpaw. Of the this weekend's releases, apart from John Green's latest Paper Towns, Lovey Gooey Romance, I said, yeah, Southpaw looks like the most interesting one of them all. And in all honesty, before the trailers started coming out and before they spoiled one of the biggest moments of this movie, I was kind of looking forward to it. Just hearing the fact that Antoine Fuqua was teaming up with Jake Gyllenhaal for a boxing movie just excited me from the beginning. And then when I started to see the set photos of Gyllenhaal, like, just completely buffed out for this role, I was like, yeah, okay, this movie might have some potential. Then we got the trailers, and then the trailers spoiled one of the most pivotal moments in the entire movie, and then my hopes got crushed just a little bit, and then I said, okay, maybe it'll still be good. Antoine Fuqua directed Denzel Washington, won him an Oscar, maybe he could do the same for Jake Gyllenhaal. And guys, now that I've seen the movie, I'll get into my thoughts a little bit after I get into the synopsis right now of the movie. And in this movie, we have Jake Gyllenhaal playing undefeated boxing champion Billy Hope, and he's like the lightweight heavy champion. I don't know boxing that well, guys. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. So I usually don't watch it whenever they do the HBO Manny Pacquiao or versus Floyd Mayweather. I don't watch it. I'm not that huge a fan of boxing. I'm not that into boxing. But in this movie, he's an undefeated champion, Jake Gyllenhaal, and he's married to Rachel McAdams, who looks really good in this movie. Kind of distracted me in a few moments. But anyway, they have a young daughter, they live in a nice house, and he basically feels like he's at the highlight of his career right now. He's in his prime, he's at the height of his career. And then an unfortunate tragedy happens when he attends a charity event, and I'm not going to spoil what happened, but if you've seen the trailers, you know exactly what happens in this movie. And suddenly, Jake Gyllenhaal's life just spirals out of control. He's in danger of losing his family over this tragedy, his boxing career and everything. I mean, he is just at his lowest low, basically. You know, as a result of this tragedy, and it's up to him to sort of finally get back out there, redeem himself for the sake of his family, and, you know, for his own sake. He wants to get back out there. In order to do so, he decides to team up with a boxing trainer of, like, this gym on, like, the corner of some street somewhere. And this character, of course, is played by Whitaker in the movie. So he's going to train Gyllenhaal and get him back out there into the ring, so he could probably reclaim you know, his honor and redeem himself after this devastating tragedy has occurred. And that basically is the premise behind Southpaw, guys. Now, again, as I said, when I heard the premise and I heard Jake Gyllenhaal's playing a boxer and I saw the set photo, Gyllenhaal buffed out, you know, looking pissed off, I was like, I'm there, all right? I'm day one admission. I can't wait to see this movie. And as many of you guys know, I'm an insanely huge Jake Gyllenhaal fan, and that is probably one of the biggest reasons why I decided to go see this movie opening day and why I got as hyped for this movie as I was. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal, in my opinion, is the strongest actor working today in Hollywood. I don't think any actor right now has even come close. His last, from 2012 till now, the last 4 movies I've seen him in, all were fantastic. All of them. End of Watch, Prisoners, Enemy, and his best performance to date, Nightcrawler. Okay, Gyllenhaal is just at the top of his game right now, okay? He is definitely at the highlight of his career in reality. And for that reason alone, I got excited for this movie. And then when I heard that Antoine Fuqua, the guy who directed Denzel Washington in Training Day and got Denzel his first Best Actor Oscar, Denzel Washington being one of my favorite actors of all time, I immediately got excited. I'm like, can we see a repeat of that happen? Maybe Antoine Fuqua is the success that we need, Gyllenhaal's success, you know, to get him that frickin' Oscar, because he at least deserved a damn nomination last year, Academy. Sorry, guys, I'm still angry about that. But anyway, in the end, you know, Antoine Fuqua is a decent filmmaker, in my opinion. I liked Training Day. Olympus Has Fallen is just one of those silly, dumb, die-hard rip-offs that you have fun with. His most recent hit, The Equalizer, was pretty good. Again, him pairing up with Denzel Washington. Very good duo there. And I think he does a very good job as this duo of him and Jake Gyllenhaal. I think both of them worked really well together in this movie. And Jake Gyllenhaal, of course, is incredible. Okay, that's not a shock to anybody. Unfortunately, there are some problems I had with the script and some overall inconsistencies with some of the story beats, which is ultimately keeping me from saying that Southpaw is like the best like boxing movie ever, and it's one of the best movies of the year, because I wanted this movie to be that. I honestly did. Unfortunately, it's really minor things that end up affecting my score of the movie that honestly either could have been fixed really early, like when they were in the middle of writing the script, or when they were in the middle of editing, or in the middle of production, honestly. You know, maybe could have shot things different. I don't know. But let's start off with talking about the good in regards to this movie. And of course, we all know the good is Jake Gyllenhaal. And it's no surprise that Jake Gyllenhaal completely transformed himself again for this movie. If I had to knock anything about his performance in this movie, it's incredible. By the way, it's one of the best performances I've seen this year. For sure. I mean, it is the best, probably the best male leading performance I've seen all year, thus far. Then again, it's July, it's early on in the year, but still, it's Jake Gyllenhaal, and he's incredible. If I had to complain about one thing about his performance, it's the fact that they're probably not going to nominate him for this movie, even though he is incredibly good, but judging by the competition that we have this year, like I'm looking ahead at some upcoming contenders, possible contenders, it's going to be a tough year. But let's just say for the sake of argument, Jake Gyllenhaal does get nominated, and they do the same thing they did to Denzel Washington back in 2001 when they gave him that Oscar because they felt bad that they didn't give it to him before. Let's say they do the same thing with Gyllenhaal. It's going to be an utter disgrace, in my opinion, because Jake Gyllenhaal completely transformed himself mentally, even physically, for Nightcrawler, and single-handedly gave one of the two best performances of last year. Now, Jake Gyllenhaal does the same thing, more or less the same thing here with this movie. I just feel that there was so much more he put into that character. However, that's Nightcrawler. I'm not here to talk about Nightcrawler. He does put a lot into this character. This is a very vulnerable character who is very, as the film progresses, psychologically just breaking. You know, when the tragedy that happens in this movie happens, Jake Gyllenhaal breaks. And there are moments in this movie, he is so visceral and so just harsh. His character, the certain arcs that his character follows, it really blows my mind. And he is incredible in this movie. He absolutely is. I'm just saying, I think a lot more was demanded of him in his last movie because he was playing the role of a psychopath, a sociopath, and he was incredible. I think he's still incredible in this. He really brings everything to the table. And the other thing that I have to praise him for, I heard he got injured a lot of times filming this movie. That's commitment right there, number one. Number two, if you saw his role in Nightcrawler, you saw how skinny and gaunt he looked. He completely buffed out for this movie. He had to be insanely ripped to play this role. And he did. You could tell he started working out, he started lifting weights and getting in shape. He is completely buffed out, and I'm saying that as a guy. I think a lot of the females that go to see this movie are going to be entirely in awe at what Jake Gyllenhaal looks like, because he looks incredible in this movie. And that's just another thing that I have to give an actor when they get that physically prepared for a role. I mean, that's automatically props given to them. And I think it, in the end, kind of paid off, in my opinion. One thing I was incredibly worried about, just moving off from Jake Gyllenhaal, because he is the best part of this movie by far. Okay, what he gives to the role, what he brings to the table, it's incredible. Okay, it's the driving force of this movie. One thing I was incredibly worried about coming into this movie was the young actress playing his daughter. There was one moment in the trailer, I'm like, I don't know. My brother and I were watching the trailer, and he was just like, oh, did they cast that girl as the daughter? Oh God. And I agreed. I was like, I don't know how she's going to do in the movie. There was one scene I felt she was off. Other than that, she was very good in this movie, okay? I bought their relationship for the most part. I bought the struggle she was facing. That damn courtroom scene, man, that scene hit me, okay? Now, that scene really hit me, okay? I mean, and I got to give props not only to the actors for that, but the screenwriters for that. Because whenever you have a child who wants their parent and they're like in view of that parent and they can't see that parent, like they're being taken away, that shit's heartbreaking, man. And it hit me. It did. That's the best scene in this movie by far, better than any of the boxing sequences, which are great. But the young daughter was very good in the movie. Rachel McAdams was good. Forrest Whitaker was even good in my opinion. It was great to see an actor like Forrest Whitaker in this type of role, and I think he very well fit this role of like this middle-aged trainer who's really forms this bond with Gyllenhaal in the movie, and I think it really worked. 50 Cent is even in this movie, and I love how at one point Jake Gyllenhaal's like losing his house and like he's kind of broke, and 50 Cent is like his like manager or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm sorry guys, that was incredibly mean, but someone's going to make that joke. All in all, the performances are one of the best things going for this movie. Every actor, I think, brought their A-game for their different roles. And I think Antoine Fuqua does an incredible job behind the camera. There are some great-looking shots in this movie. One of the best shots is this low angle as in the boxing ring. Gyllenhaal stands and rises, sweat and water is pouring down his face. You got lens flare going on. It's in the trailer. It's the best shot of this movie. I love that shot so much. It's one of the better shots of a movie I've seen this year. Like, I can't get that shot out of my head. I think the score by the late James Horner actually really worked for me as well. And I love how they paid respect to him in the end of the movie. The score was great. The soundtrack was kick-ass. All that really worked for me in the movie. The sound was good. I think the boxing sequences were very well choreographed. They were well cut together, in my opinion. The cuts were consistent and all that. My only problems, my only flaws with this film, fortunately, lie within some of the story and some of the character relationships themselves. First off, right off the bat, a lot of people are saying this movie is highly cliched ridden. And I can see why people are saying that. I'm not saying it is. But we've seen this type of story numerous times before. Not in just like a boxing movie. I'm talking about like in any movie where someone is trying to redeem themselves for the sake of their family or whatever, and sports are involved. We've seen this story before. I knew exactly how this was going to end. I knew the final few shots like an hour before they happened because we've seen this story done a dozen times before. And I really can't hold that against the movie. It's just we've seen it done before, but it's something I have to bring up. It is predictable, all right? You know how this movie's going to end. I think everybody knew how this movie was going to end before they even watched the trailer, okay? When they heard about what this was about, there you go. My biggest flaw with the movie, however, are some of the character relationships. I feel the first half of the movie, the character relationships that they try to introduce us to feel incredibly forced. And when the tragic moment happens, it's tragic, it's devastating, but only that moment felt devastating for me. Earlier, had these characters, I felt, been given more time with each other, and had, I feel, their relationships not felt as forced, because that's really what it felt like to me. Gyllenhaal's relationship with his wife and his daughter specifically, they only have one scene together before this big tragedy, and then a lot of their relationship, a lot of their story beats together are highly inconsistent in this movie. Like, we go from one scene, she's hating him, and then she's like, alright, daddy, I like you, and then she hates him again, and then she just, like, throws the worst insult at him possible, and then the next scene she's with him and she's happy. So that felt a little odd to me. A lot of the character relationships I felt could have been improved on probably early on when they were writing the script, and some of the supporting characters didn't really work for me. There's this whole shoehorned in subplot about this kid who has abusive parents, and it just had no place in the movie at all, in my opinion. That being said, I mildly enjoyed Southpaw. The boxing sequences are incredible. Fuqua did a great job behind the camera. Every actor is on point in this movie. Gyllenhaal delivers another incredible performance, in my opinion. I just wish that the first half of the movie was on par with the rest of the movie. And there weren't inconsistencies present. Other than that, I'm going to give Southpaw a solid grade of an 8.25 out of 10, or a grade of a B-. I feel this is a film, if you love Jake Gyllenhaal, you should definitely see it. I'm going to say check it out on like a bargain Tuesday cheap kind of night. But definitely check it out at some point. It's not terrible. It could have been a lot better, and Gyllenhaal's incredible, and I think he's honestly worth the admission alone. But there you have it, guys. Those are my thoughts on Southpaw. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave me your thoughts on the movie down below if you've seen it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.